when I walked in and I told everybody who came in there was no anger in this room.
Yeah.
I didn't have the energy to be angry. I still don't. And people have asked me about the driver and stuff and my feelings, and I don't have the energy for that. I couldn't waste my energy on anger. You needed me, and you needed me to be there. And anger was just a waste of energy, and I didn't have a lot of energy at that time.
Almost dying taught me how to live. Being struck by a car left me in a 3.5-week coma with 15 broken bones and 16 surgeries to complete, including brain surgery. However, I woke up from that coma in an even greater place than I ever foresaw for myself. How? The universe will guide you out of the darkness and into the light if you allow it. Often, spirituality comes off as too highbrow. I'm not about that. Welcome to the podcast that talks and teaches about it through the lens of humor. Together, we'll harness positive energy and use it to work with the universe, all while giggling the entire time. Welcome to Gabriella Rebranded. Win most, lose some. All right, this is gonna be a very impactful episode. Because it's gonna be such an impactful episode, I want to just get out of the way. Sign up for my newsletter, GabriellaRebranded.com. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok at Gabriella Rebranded. Like, review, subscribe. Reviews especially help me so much. And we've gotten that out of the way. So now we get to go into the episode itself. So who we have here today is a very special guest. My most special guest ever. There have definitely been guests where I'm like, you're the guest that I'm so excited to talk to, but this is actually the most important guest because this is my mama, Laura Tranchina. And we're going to do 2 episodes. So the next one will come out a week after today. And today's episode is about what it's like for the family when they're in one of those chaotic emergency situations. So we're going to focus on the moment I got hurt to my time in inpatient rehab. And then the episode that comes out next week is going to be an ode to caregivers. And we're going to talk about what comes with raising a disabled child, specifically a mentally disabled child. And I know I was 23, so 24, so you weren't really raising me, but you were raising me, and we'll definitely talk about that, my move back to LA. But for today, we are focusing, everybody has known people that have been through these kinds of crazy situations where a family member is so terribly affected, and everybody kind of wonders what's going on in the family's mind, or what that experience is like for the family, or maybe you yourself have lived this, and this is a tribute to all the families who have gone through something as crazy as the Tranchina family did. And a lot about what's happened has been told to me, but I wasn't there, I didn't see it, and also I know that I heard very different things at times, and PTSD brain came into play, and people couldn't quite remember everything. So to the best of our ability, we're now going to walk through. You're so quiet. I think she's scared she's going to cry.
So I'm trying not to cry. That is true.
We're going to walk through kind of everything.
Okay.
So first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
You're a podcast guest. You're so nervous.
I am so nervous.
You're so nervous.
I've never done something like this. I know in the past I hate hearing my voice on tape. So, and I hate the way I look on film. This is just...
You just said the lyrics to a One Direction song that Harry Styles sang, Little Things.
Oh,
he
really?
goes, I know you've always hated the sound of your voice on
yeah?
tape.
Yeah.
You never want to know how much you weigh. Yeah, that's when Harry Styles says you're fat, but I still love you.
That's right. That is a good song. I love that song. You know that.
Yeah, I know. It's a great song.
It is a good song.
He doesn't body shame.
But thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm a lot nervous.
A lot nervous.
Yeah.
I think
various reasons, but
the next episode we record are probably going to feel a little more powerful doing, but this episode's going to be hard for you.
It's going to be a little hard, I think. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess the best way to go is just chronologically.
To the best of my recollection.
To the best of your recollection.
Go
Obviously, PTSD brain is at play. My mama has her own form of PTSD.
At 100%.
Yeah.
And people forget that sometimes, that the family,
Oh, yeah.
it goes through it too. In a different way.
Yeah, no,
and I will never
exactly.
take away from what you went through, but the family goes through their own thing.
We should hold space for both
Yes.
truths.
Yep.
And when Kat Prescott was on, we talked a lot about that. And she gave so much credit to her sister being her caregiver and her own form of PTSD she was gathering.
Okay.
Okay.
Should I dive in?
Yeah, let's start.
Okay, so that day, you don't remember that day.
No.
You don't remember it at all. So that day we had been talking a lot because you had a friend who was going to come out to visit. Mm-hmm. And I knew you were going out to dinner, so I was helping you find an Airbnb. And we were looking for a desk for your apartment. You wanted a new desk. And so I knew you were going out to dinner, and we were going to talk after dinner to go over the Airbnb and finish buying you a desk. So then you call me, I don't know what time, but you called me, and it was, I thought to go over all this stuff, but it wasn't. It was, you were upset because you had left your sunglasses.
Yeah.
At the restaurant. And I was like, so what? They're sunglasses, you know, they can be replaced. And you were like, yeah, I went back and they said, I called them. They said they didn't have them, blah, blah, blah. And we hung up the phone, and I knew you were annoyed because you had called them, they didn't answer. So you went back and they told you they didn't have them. Mm-hmm. And so whatever, we ended the call, and we were saying you were going to call me later to discuss this stuff when you got back. And you weren't calling me. So I was calling you, no answer. I called you, no answer. And then I think I went to call you again, and I don't, this is maybe PTSD on my part. I don't really know if a call came through or I was calling you, because they were calling me at the same time. And it was Cedars-Sinai calling to tell me, I'm going to cry, calling to tell me that you had been hit by a car. I didn't know what that meant at first. I didn't know if you were in a car. I didn't know what had happened. And I just started screaming for your dad. And he said, Steve, you know, Gabriella's been hurt. She's hurt. She was hit by a car. And I gave him the phone because I think I was just beyond. And so he was kind of talking to them. It was, I believe, a social worker who called. And they said you had a cut on your face, a cut on your leg, and a broken leg. And I was like, okay. So I'm trying to book us flights to leave that morning. I can't get 2 seats on any flight out of JFK or LaGuardia. I can't get 2 seats on the first flights. For some reason, I could get 1, not 2. And as I have a suitcase open, I'm going to fast forward through all this. Lo and behold, Dad was going to come, but then he said, I'm going to come tomorrow. And I called my sister, woke her up, and said, will you come with me? And I ended up getting on a flight out of Newark that morning. So Uncle Mike wanted to come get me. I drove to New Jersey because I was so wired. And Dad
but he offered to come get you.
Oh, he offered to come get me. Of course he did. He offered to come get me. And I'm like, I'm so wired. I just want to drive. And I will get there as soon as I can. And Daddy called me. And he's like, you at your sister's yet? And I'm like, no, I'm not there. I'm nearly there. He's like, call me when you get there. And I knew something. Was wrong. And I get there and I call him, and he said, the hospital called back. She has a brain bleed. And I just crumbled to the floor. Mike and Rose were there, and I just crumbled to the floor. And Dad saying, but it's small, it's okay. They don't need to do surgery, but they're going to keep an eye on it. But now I know you're hurt even worse than I thought. I was thinking Devil Wears Prada. If anybody's seen that, they'll know what I'm
Emily
talking
Blunt,
about.
yeah.
Yes. And she had a broken leg, she had a black eye, so I'm like, okay, this is what we're going to have.
I say, you thought the worst thing you were going to have to deal with was my bad mood.
Oh, I was like, oh, she's going to be in such a bad mood. Her leg is broken. She's going to be so mad. So anyhow, we get to the airport. We're on a plane. I don't remember. We're row 57. That I remember. We're in row 57. It's about the only thing I remembered. And a call came through, and it was the hospital. Don't know how the call came through.
Was this before you had taken off?
No, we were in the air.
Oh, you were in LA.
We were in the air. And a call came through.
Okay.
Yeah. And I did put myself on their Wi-Fi just in case, but I didn't think a call would come through. A call came through. It's the hospital. Your brain bleed had gotten worse.
How many hours out were you from landing in LA?
I couldn't tell you that.
Okay.
Probably halfway. I'm going to say halfway there.
Okay.
And I think we were on a 7 a.m. flight. So we were probably halfway there. And you were being brought in for emergency surgery. Somehow I managed to get a call out to your dad. And I said, you got to get on a flight today. She's being brought in for her brain bleed got worse. And I said, you can't wait till tomorrow because I don't know what I'm going to find. And we landed. Rose said she would get the luggage to the hotel, and the taxi dropped me off at the hospital. Got in. You were under a fake name because you had been separated from your ID.
Trauma glossy privet.
Trauma glossy privet. And I walk in and to the ICU. You're now in neuro ICU. At first you were in a different kind of ICU, but once you had the brain bleed, you went to neuro ICU. And I walk in, and the first door I go by, which was right across from the nurse's station, there's someone laying there with just horrible looking, with tubes everywhere and stuff, and obviously very injured. And I just kind of turned my head, and I went to the nurse's station, and there was 4 ladies there. And I said, I'm here for my daughter. My flight just landed, trauma glossy privet. And I see their eyes go to that room. And I looked at them and I said, that's not my daughter. And they came on, 2 of them came on either side of me. And they're like, that is your daughter and she needs you. And I couldn't believe that was you. It was not what I expected at all. And they were just about to take you for a CAT scan. To check that the brain bleed had stopped and that they had taken care of it. And I didn't know where to touch you. And they said I could see you for a second before they wheeled you away. And I just wanted, and you were just so hurt everywhere. And I didn't know where to touch you or if I could touch you. I didn't want to hurt you because you were already so hurt and injured. And the social worker took me out to the waiting area, and Rose wasn't there yet. And I remember just thinking, if God gives me a sign, if he gives me a sign right now, I'm walking up to the roof of the hospital. If he gives me a sign saying that you will be okay if I jump off the roof of this hospital, I would have jumped off the roof. And I was asking him, please give me a sign. If she's okay, I'm just going to jump off the roof. And I even asked the social worker if there was roof access. But God did not give me a sign. And here I am, and you needed me. You needed me. And that day was just horrific.
Well, good thing he did it.
He did not give me a sign, but if he would have came to me and said, I would have jumped off the roof of Mount Sinai, Cedar Sinai, and never, no hesitation. And I know that.
I don't think that's how that works.
I guess not.
Yeah.
So that day, and you can ask your Aunt Rose about this, was just a revolving door of different doctors coming in. You don't get a laundry list. They basically come in, each doctor who's treating the different piece of you comes in to tell you what's wrong with you.
So it's not like, so it's like you don't even know how many doctors are going to come in.
No, just one came in. Oh, we were even told a broken shoulder.
Okay.
A broken shoulder. Oh, she's got a broken neck. Oh, she has broken pelvis. She has broken ribs. Broken jaw, broken cheekbone, broken eye, orbital floor. Obviously, the trauma to your head. And it got to the point where Aunt Rose was like, whenever somebody come in, she goes, oh my God, now what? What are they going to tell us now? Like, she was just like, what are they going to tell us? Because I couldn't believe what we were being told and what was wrong with you.
Endless things.
And that day also the sheriff came to tell me that about the accident. I guess he was there that night.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. The sheriff came and he said the person who had hit you drove for about block, 2 blocks and didn't realize he hit a person. And I was like, really? How did you not realize that? But he said he didn't realize it. He was not drunk. But he stopped because then he said, oh, maybe I should stop just in case. So he stopped.
I head banged that windshield open with my face. He damn knew. Yeah. He was fleeing the scene.
I think so.
Yes.
I think so. I can't say that for sure, but then,
Oh, you think he just didn't notice the windshield?
I don't know.
No,
of course he knew. At that time, I hadn't seen that video.
Yeah, I know.
So I hadn't seen that video. But I was trying to piece together what happened.
Yeah.
I had called 4 of your friends who were in LA. That, before I even got on a plane. And two of them who were roommates, Lizzie and Becca, had gone to Cedar Sinai. Because I'm like, please, can you try to get information for me? And
but they weren't family, so they wouldn't give them. And also, I wasn't under Gabriella
and you weren't
Tranchina,
under that name. I don't know what I was thinking. I really don't. But I was just panicking. And then I had called your roommates, your 2 roommates. One was sleeping. I think the other one might have called me back. I don't know now. But anyhow, so I didn't know how you had gotten there. I didn't know anything. Called the restaurant, and lo and behold, they had your sunglasses on.
Shout out, Isabel!
And they told me the valet, had run after the guy, whatever. I spoke to the valet. I asked, would he speak to me? And he called me.
Yeah.
And
he was a real one.
He was a real one.
Yeah.
He was a good guy. And he sent me a video.
Oh, yeah.
He sent me a video that he had taken because I guess they saw the guy was still driving. They didn't see the accident.
Yeah.
They heard it and turned around, and I guess the car was still going.
Yeah.
And so they ran after the car. They videoed all the damage to the car.
Yeah. I put that video is in the second episode, the trauma porn
episode
of this podcast, where you hear him say, this guy just killed a girl. This is the car that killed a girl. Yeah.
The first thing he said to me, is she alive?
Yeah.
The witnesses who were there, none of them thought that you'd be alive, but you were. And I told him so, and he sent me the video. And when I saw the car, I was like, how could this man not have realized?
Oh, he realized.
Of course he did. But when the sheriff told me, I didn't know if I had seen the video. But even so, he did stop. So there was nothing to be done.
There was nothing to be done. He stopped.
So it was just, it was horrible. That day, you squeezed my hand when I asked you to. A couple times. And then
I stopped responding, right?
And I stopped responding. You went backwards. And every doctor who walked in, I'd be like, can you explain it? She was responding. She understood me. She was squeezing my hand. Why isn't she squeezing my hand anymore? And they're all like, she's healing. We don't know what's going on. They can't tell you what's going on. But anybody walked in, the nurses, I'd be like, why is she not responding? I kept holding on to the fact that first day you did squeeze my hand. You did. But then you stopped. And they had to keep checking your left eye because you had so much damage
This
there.
fucking bitch. Bane of my existence.
And it wasn't responding to light.
Yeah.
So we didn't think you'd have vision in that eye. Mm-hmm. But every time it was so swollen, and every time they opened it, that's the only time I really saw you in pain. You could just see, even though you weren't awake, you were in a coma, you could just see you would start writhing every time. But it wasn't responding to light initially. So we really thought, they said it could get better, but so that was one thing. And then the surgery started. I think your leg was first. Mm-hmm. The brain surgery obviously was first. I wasn't even there yet. And then I think your leg was done. And I think your next surgery was your jaw and cheekbone, which they basically said was putting back together a jigsaw puzzle. It was so badly. Your cheekbone was so badly
got a little
damaged.
metal in there, right? I've got metal in my jaw, right?
I think so. Yeah. We didn't know that until I think they did an X-ray. And
they did an X-ray. We're like,
It's metal. And he fixed your jaw too at the time. And the next surgery after that, I had wanted them to plate your ribs first because I wanted you off the ventilator.
Oh, so you wanted the rib plating to be first?
Yeah, I kept saying, I kept asking, why can't you do that first? But I guess the way it's scheduled, doctors or the OR, I don't know, they scheduled the jaw and cheekbone. But I I just knew Daddy kept saying she's going to get pneumonia. She's going to get pneumonia. And we wanted you off the ventilator. And we were hoping if they could get your ribs plated and get your lung working again, that maybe you wouldn't need a trach. We were silly. You were so, even Dad, we just were more hopeful than, but anyhow, they
Fucking
didn't do
trach.
that trach. So.
I love, sometimes I tell, not sometimes, when it comes up in conversation that, like, I can't sing anymore above a certain note, people are like, what? And I'm like, yeah, the trach. And they're like, that's a great, should blame everything in your life on that trach. And I'm like, I do. I blame a decent amount on it.
Well, you do have vocal cord damage because of,
yeah. See it goes. Gone.
Anyhow, your dad had come out that night too, and he just made it in. I'm going back a little. He just made it in right before visiting hours ended, and I was like to the nurses, please, he's coming in from New York. He's got to see her tonight.
Oh, I just want to actually use this moment as a little clarification because I got some feedback on a video. When it's somebody with PTSD brain, as I had, as Kat Prescott had, as my mom had, the story is going to be disjointed. The memories, it's hard to piece together. So she's doing her best. I'm doing my best.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Yes. No. Don't apologize. Yeah. Don't apologize. I just wanted to make it very clear to the listeners because I saw from feedback that was lost on them. Because how would you know that if you haven't experienced it? PTSD, it does really mess up your storytelling, as the chronological, and as you remember details as you go. Anyway, that's it.
Yep. So when he got there
back to
night,
when my dad got here.
yes.
So pre-pneumonia.
So he got there maybe 15 minutes before visiting hours ended. And I saw your dad cry a little bit on the day of Stephen's baptism. I don't know why. I've never seen Dad cry.
My dad doesn't cry.
No, he didn't cry. He didn't cry then either when he saw you, but he was walking to the room, and they have glass doors, and your door was open, obviously. And it was like as if a wall was there, and he couldn't go beyond it. And his face, I've never seen his face like that, and I hope to never see his face like that again. It was broken. It was broken. And he couldn't. And I said to him what the nurse said to me, I said, she needs you. You got to get in there. She needs you. And I think that's when it hit me how bad it was. Because your dad never is like that. Yeah. And that was really hard to see him like that. So anyhow, he did get there that night, and he was there for a couple days. Your aunt flew home, and you don't know this, but I was never alone. So he stayed a couple days.
Oh, I know this.
Uncle Sal. No. Oh, I guess you know this. That then Uncle Sal, and it was like everybody tag team.
My family's the best. They literally so many Uncle Sal, Uncle Rob, Aunt Rose,
Daddy.
They were Dad, even Mr. Fox came out. They were tag teaming you. You were never alone.
Grandma wanted to.
My grandma wanted to. Her leg literally does not work, and they were like, she was what, 86 at the time?
Oh yeah.
It's been years. 85,
so
and they were like, Ida, you cannot go on a plane.
First of all, I didn't want her to see you like that.
Yeah.
And
well, no, the baller can still go on planes, but only for like less than 3 hours.
Yeah. No, and she just and at that time, LA was still kind of coming out of COVID.
Oh yeah.
So they only allowed 2 people in, and you couldn't switch. So if I went there in the morning, it wasn't like if Aunt Rose came, then she could take my spot. So like if Uncle Sal and Uncle Rob were there, like they overlapped, we sometimes put, and the nurses kind of knew, but we'd change. Like if it said Sal Tranchina, we would put on Uncle Rob or whatever and hope that.
I think the nurses.
They didn't say anything. They kind of understood what we were doing.
They understood what was happening.
Yeah, but you weren't allowed to switch off with somebody else. 2 visitors, done. They could stay 5 minutes. They could stay the entire day, but it was only those 2 visitors. So I'm like, what am I going to do? I can't be entertaining Grandma, or not entertaining. That's the wrong word, but taking care of her.
Taking care of her, yeah.
So it was hard. There was so many times I just wanted to curl up in a ball in the corner of the hospital room, but I knew I couldn't do that.
Yeah.
I wanted to, but I had to listen. Whenever Dad wasn't there, I would try to call him when they were rounding.
So he could listen
So he could listen and ask the questions. Sometimes I missed rounds because they got their visiting hours started at 9 and they got there beforehand. They did it beforehand, and I would ask them to please come back because I wanted that information.
Also, you would literally line up like 45 minutes early to be the first one in as soon as they opened, right?
Yes. I would get there early. For some reason, there would be a line that wrapped around the parking lot. And I think it was, again, COVID.
It was COVID.
You had to show your vaccination card every time. I think every time I had to show, maybe not. I had to show my vaccination card every time at rehab, maybe not at Cedars.
Yeah.
There was something like, I was like, really? I got to show it again?
And my Uncle Rob, who visited, he's from Florida. And I remember when they were like, you were like, you have to show your vaccine card. He was like, what?
Yeah,
because that was so not. And he's a doctor in Florida. He's a brain cancer doctor. Like, he works at a hospital.
Yeah.
And then you were like, you have to show your vaccine card. He was like, we do not have to do.
And he didn't bring
different
it.
states.
But he's like, I have a picture of it on my phone, and they let him come in with the picture on the phone. Okay, so now that we said Dad got there, he stayed with me a couple of days. Again, you just had various surgeries lined up. You started doing something called sympathetic storming.
Oh, I thought it was neurostorming.
They called it sympathetic, I thought.
See,
maybe neuro.
This is why I need to go back and change so much of my book, because so many things are like coming to light or whatever.
It probably was a form of neurostorming, but that might be what they said to me. I might have misheard it, but you would start thrashing, and you were just, you couldn't be calmed. You would thrash and thrash and thrash, and nobody could quite explain it to me, and no matter how many times I asked, you developed pneumonia, terrible pneumonia, and there was one point, it was so bad that Dad said the accident didn't kill her, the pneumonia's going to kill her.
Because I wasn't responding to the antibiotics, right?
No, they had to keep changing the antibiotics. You had 3 different multi-drug resistant bacteria somehow in your lungs. It was not good. And every morning I'd come in, I'd be like, of course, how'd she sleep? But I'd look at your temperature. What was her fever last night? Asking all the questions.
I remember, again, my dad isn't one to really show emotion. And I need to look up what his rising sign is, because he's a Sagittarius sun. I need to look up what his rising is.
I don't know that stuff.
But he's not one to show emotion. It's weird, because I'm so into astrology, but I haven't looked up my parents' astrology, because I'm like, I don't want to understand them that much. But he, like, one of the only times I saw Dad show emotion is, this was recently, this wasn't that long ago. We were talking about the pneumonia, and it wasn't just me. Someone else was there too, maybe Steven. But we were talking about the pneumonia and how I wasn't responding to the antibiotics. It might have been when he was out here for the podcast launch. And he was telling that story. And my dad he's not one to show emotion, and he's also one, he is a doctor, so he's always one to be like, doctors are human. We can't do magic. Like, things need to be treated. Like, it takes time. Like, you have to change. Blah blah blah. He's always like that. And I remember when I wasn't responding to the antibiotics, and you guys thought they were going to kill me. I forgot which number it was, like 3 or 4 round that wasn't working. And he was talking about how the doctor was saying, like, oh, I've never seen this before. And Dad, this was the only time I saw him get angry. He was like, well, you have it now, so fucking fix it.
Yeah. Oh, he was, yeah.
That's the only time I've ever seen him.
There was a point where he thought the pneumonia was going to kill you.
Yeah.
You were in such a weakened state. But every day was like a different thing.
And they couldn't plate my ribs until the pneumonic subsided. So the metal plating of my ribs was
held off.
So my lung was still collapsed.
So your lung was collapsed. You did get trached. You had to be trached, because you can only stay on the ventilator a certain amount of time, and then it's not good to be on it anymore.
Did I have ever told you that one time someone thought my trach scar was a hickey?
Yeah, you did tell me that. That's a funny spot for a hickey.
Well, yeah, I think they were just like, ooh, what did you get up to last night? And this was also a couple years ago, so it was when my scar was a lot more prominent. They're like, ooh, what did you get up to last night? And I was like, what? And then I moved and they got a different view and they knew what had happened to me. They were like, oh, never mind. Yeah.
Oh, gosh. So just trying to think of all the different things, because every day it was, okay, the storming. Then they thought maybe you were having seizures. So you had to be one day with these. They put all these like electrodes on your head overnight.
Definitely a big risk after brain injuries.
Tremendous risk. Risk.
I'm still at risk.
But you still are. But thankfully you weren't having seizures.
Yeah.
Then one day I said to, there might have been a therapist or a nurse. I said, I don't understand. Her body's bruising. More bruises keep coming out. Why are there more bruises coming out? What is going on? And they're like, they're pinching her, so to see if she'll respond. And you weren't responding. And I guess they were pinching hard. Plus, I think you might have been on blood thinners, to prevent clotting, because your CAT scan showed you had some clots,
Wasn't my whole body like really swollen too?
Oh my God. Don't be mad at me. But I remember you had just been home in New York a couple days before.
Yeah. Crazy, by the way.
Yeah. And I was looking at me. First of all, your head was round like a pumpkin. It was this huge round pumpkin head.
Really?
I was like, what's with the head? It was so huge and round.
I don't know what. I guess that makes sense. But for some reason, I'm like, the head has the ability to swell? Like,
it was like this round pumpkin. It was, but I was looking at you, and I said, I didn't realize she got so fat. I thought you were just really chubby. And I'm like, she didn't look that chubby when I saw her. I didn't realize your whole body was
swollen.
Swollen, and I guess you retain water, but there was just so much, because you had a chest tube that was trying to drain fluid because you had so much fluid. Your lung was completely collapsed. Like I said, they were pinching you to keep you, to see if you would respond, because they would yell in your ear. They're like, talk, loud, just to see if she'll respond. That was the only time we could talk loud.
Oh yeah, because you were supposed to keep it quiet, right?
Yes, because I had music playing, Taylor Swift.
And they were like, you can't play lyrics.
Yes, and also I was reading Harry Potter.
Oh.
I was reading Harry Potter to you, and then finally the nurse said, you can't be doing this, playing music and reading Harry Potter. I said, I thought you're supposed to talk to people in comas, read to them, and they're like, her brain needs to heal. She needs to heal. She needs quiet. So they, one of Stephen's friend, Caitlin Whitaker, sent a
instrumental Taylor Swift,
compilation of Taylor Swift songs, and I was allowed to play that on a very low volume. So I would put it right next to your ear, very low, and you listen to that every day. No more Harry Potter, no more talking at you. The only time was when we would try to get you to respond. So every day, I remember the first day they took the Band-Aid off of this incision, and I was like, oh, I didn't need to see that, because it's from here to here you were cut, and it was just a row of staples. And I was like, oh my God. And then they finally did the rib plating, and we also had to start wearing gowns because of all the bacteria you had in your lungs. Also, we had to gown up and we had to take the gown off. They didn't want that bacteria being brought out. And then, I don't know if it was as your swelling went down, I started noticing that your left eye looks sunken. And I'm sorry, but I didn't even want to stay on that side. A lot of times I would try to position myself on, I'm okay. I would try to position myself on the right side because it bothered me. And I kept saying, when is her eye going to be taken care of? When are they going to put the plate in her eye? And they had a date. And all of a sudden the surgery didn't happen. And okay, I'm going to switch back. The one thing, going back, when I walked in and I told everybody who came in there was no anger in this room.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't have the energy to be angry. I still don't. And I'm not. I still, and people have asked me about the driver and stuff and my feelings, and I don't have the energy for that. I don't. I couldn't waste my energy on anger. You needed me, and you needed me to be there. And anger was just a waste of energy, and I didn't have a lot
That's
of
all
energy
anger
at that
is, yeah.
time. It's a waste. It's a waste. It wasn't going to accomplish anything except make me tired, and I couldn't be tired.
It takes so much energy to be angry.
I couldn't be tired because I would wake up, depending who was there, go for a walk and then get to the hospital, and then people would encourage me to leave, just to get out and go get lunch because, you weren't responding, you weren't awake, but Robbie would call me and say, you've got to get out, you can't be there, so you just need to take care of you too. And that was what a lot of people were telling me. So I refused to let anger in the room. And then I slept when they canceled your eye surgery.
For like the third time though.
No. The first time was when I flipped out. I believe, again, the ORs were just opening up for elective surgeries. And I think the OR thought it was plastic surgery of some sort, not realizing what it was.
Okay.
And I think they canceled it. That's what I think. I don't know if that's what happened, but I think they canceled it. And the attendant came in to tell me that it was canceled. And I yelled at her so bad. I just did. And I said, you should be here with another date. You shouldn't just come in. You should be at that OR control center asking them for a date. Her eyes sunken. I'm her mother. I don't want to look at her eye like this anymore. And I said to her, you know what? Maybe every doctor needs to go through an experience like this so you'll understand what it feels like to be the parent of someone like this. And I feel so bad. She just was looking at me, nodding her head. And then after that, every time they rounded, the doctors would be like, and the surgery is scheduled for, and they made sure then it got canceled for the next morning for another one. It got postponed a couple times, and I was just like, but I didn't let the anger in just that first time. And then after that surgery, her eye looked beautiful. It was closed and swollen, but I could see it wasn't sunken.
But the saga doesn't end there.
No, the saga doesn't end
the
there.
saga of the eye doesn't end there.
No, it doesn't
In fact, it went on for 2.5 years.
Yeah. But you have that eye.
I have it.
And you have vision.
And the vision sucks, but I still have it. Yeah.
You have it. And, there was a time we didn't think you'd have any vision in it.
Yeah.
And when I saw it like that, and then, we'll talk about the rest of that at another time. But every day was just a different thing. And then finally, I wasn't allowed to do anything with your hair because of those staples. Mm-hmm. And because it was a big mess. It was a big
matted, knotty,
bloody mess. And finally, when the staples came out, I said, can I just start trying to comb her hair? And they said yes. They finally allowed it. They even brought they try to shampoo it, but it's like a shower cap that's got shampoo in it, and they get the ends. It was not
also,
cleaning it.
I doubt it was good curly hair products.
It was not curly hair product. But needless to say, that was quite the task that I undertook because I couldn't get it unknotted. And the nurse suggested just try a little piece. And every day I went to Sal, at one point was with me, Rose was with me, when we would get different things from coconut oil to detangler, different combs. And then as I got one little piece, unknotted, I would put in a little braid. So you had all these little braids all over your head. And I was working from one side to the other. And one nurse finally came in and said, can you please let us cut all her hair off? Just cut it off. And you were shaved here.
Yeah.
So you had this big band of baldness here. And I said, when she wakes up, not if, when she wakes up, if I've allowed you to cut off her hair, she will never forgive me. I knew I'd be in trouble. I said no.
And I remember when I gained conscious, I was so happy I still had most of my hair. It fell out anyway.
That was not yet, though.
That was another thing we'll get into.
It looked good. It was looking good.
But I was so happy that I still, and I thought that was unheard of, that you have brain surgery, and like I knew that the front bald was
yeah,
shaved
you
off,
had
but
like this.
But I had
from
the
here to here.
rest. I was so.
But you had the rest.
Happy about that. Well, as happy as I could
every
be.
day I worked on that, and then eventually you started responding. Started becoming. Your days and nights were confused. Dr. Herman put you on medications. He'd try to switch up your days and nights because your days and nights were confused. So at night you'd be more awake and then sleeping all day. Not that you were really awake yet. And I remember thinking, like the movies, you're going to look at me, wake, you're going to open up your eyes and you're just going to start talking to me or something. And
that's not how it works.
And they did finally sit me down to say, that's not the way it's going to be. It's going to be a very slow process, and it was. And you started opening up your eyes. I remember one time I'd be like, do you know where Mom is? Do you know where Mom is? And your eyes were closed. They weren't open, but I could tell. You know how like you could see the eyeballs move? You looked you looked that way. And so I knew. And I knew you were starting to comprehend. Because again, we didn't know the extent of your brain injury. When you had very weak right arm.
Yeah.
And this is now,
It's still
again,
weaker,
when you're starting to wake up and you were trying, they would tell you, no, hold up. Or they would raise this arm and say, okay, hold it up. And you would hold it up. And this one,
it would immediately.
It would just.
Well, I remember,
you couldn't raise it on.
Well, the first time, and this is in inpatient rehab, which we'll get more into later. But I remember the first time you gave me my phone, I dropped it.
Oh yeah. But for the longest time, it was just kind of curled like in on itself, your arm, and you couldn't. It just flopped right down, and you could not lift it yourself.
Yeah.
And I remember they asked you. This was after multiple days of this, but maybe by all of a sudden. You took your left hand.
Oh my God, this was.
And you picked it up, and I was like, she's thinking.
Oh yeah, they told me, just to clarify, they told me to raise my right arm, and I was finally like.
Yeah. Because I knew you couldn't, so you took
I was like, I knew I couldn't, and I was like so tired of being asked to do it. I was like, maybe they'll stop asking me to do it if I do. So I was recovering because that's creative.
Yeah, that's it.
That's creative thought.
For me, that meant your brain was thinking. You were problem solving.
Problem solving.
Like I thought that was huge because no, you didn't know where you were. You didn't know if it was day, night. You didn't know what month it was.
But I knew that.
Yes, you did know that. So I was like, oh, okay. So, this was as, you were progressing along. Like I was so happy. I knew you'd walk again because your legs were kicking all the time.
You said I was a rocket.
No, the nurses called you a rocket.
Okay.
They're like, her legs are going to be just fine because you would be kicking.
Yeah, you were nervous about bed sores. And they were like, I don't
That's
think
right.
she's going to
They're like, she's not going to have bed sores. Because you thrashed a lot. You did thrash a lot. That was all part of the sympathy.
Yeah.
I found you curled up at the bottom. Again, this was not initial. This was as the weeks went on because you didn't go into a regular room. It was right around a month before you went into a regular room.
Yeah.
So you were in the ICU, and for the most of that, you were pretty unresponsive.
Yeah.
And then it was like once you started responding, it got better. And I think it was also because the surgeries were, and each time you took a surgery, I think you had to recover from that.
Done and dusted, yeah.
Yeah. And the other thing I would ask every doctor who walked in is she going to be addicted to painkillers?
Oh yeah, is she going to be addicted to painkillers?
And they would say,
had it my dad's way, he would have been like, just give her Advil.
Well, he would have every time. He's like, what's she on, and why is she still on that? Like he didn't want you on all those painkillers, and they kept saying she's in an acute state. She'll be fine. She needs this right now, and you did. And it was funny because different nurses handle things differently. So some of the nurses, if you were supposed to get pain medication at 12 o'clock, gave you to at 12. Other ones would kind of wait and see. And then once we could tell you were getting uncomfortable, they'd give you the pain medication. So, but they assured me you would not
be addicted.
No, and you weren't.
I wasn't addicted to Oxy, wasn't addicted to fentanyl, wasn't addicted to all that fun stuff. But before we go into the inpatient rehab, because I imagine that's where we're going to next, can you just give a little shout out and a little, just the reaction from friends and family, how much people from Manhasset showed up for you, like...
You're gonna have me cry.
I know. Well, I know. I think it's important to talk about the community, just because I think we should tell people.
Our community was amazing.
I think we should tell people what kind of support is beneficial and how much it does make a difference. A community showing up for not just the injured, but the family of.
So, oh my gosh, there were several prayer services for you. The rabbi from our temple in Manhasset brought, I believe, food over or something for you. Even they did. They came. People sent donations. People sent gifts. People sent slippers. People sent blankets. People sent all kinds of things. Collections were made. We had plenty of food gift cards.
Just because it's a great resource, I want to mention that my family and, other people who unfortunately have a loved one or a friend like in this kind of accident, they were able to update everyone on what was going on with me on Caregiver, and that was immensely helpful because obviously people were curious about what was going on, like people were invested in my recovery, but my mom, my brother, they did not have the bandwidth to be answering these questions. So Caregiver is a great resource to give out that information.
It's funny because I thought at the end you would give me some of my recommendations.
Oh, yeah.
Caregiver was going to be one of my recommendations. The people in my community were even walking our dogs until we were finally able to situate our dog walkers. And I kind of let them walk it longer than I would have because I could have gotten the dog walkers because there was a list of people who wanted to walk our dogs. Mm-hmm. I didn't know. I asked the lady who was coordinating it, Molly Fahey. I asked her, can you tell me so I can thank these people? She says, you don't need to know that. They know you're thankful. So I would, after you got home, I'd be walking, somebody would be like, oh, I know your dogs. I was walking your dogs. So the community was so there for us in every way, bringing food for Dad. Somebody sent cleaning service over to the house. Like, it was amazing what people did for us and the calls we got. And yes, Caregiver, which would be something I'd recommend, made it so much easier because I couldn't keep up with the texts. None of us could.
And also just a couple really good friends of you, of Steven, of me. They took over communicating with...
Yes.
My friend Lizzie took over with communicating with my friends what was going on. I know Caitlin Whitaker.
I think Caitlin Whitaker
took over with communicating with people, Steven's friends and people in Manhasset.
Sue Dunn was definitely taking over. They had like a network of people who were definitely, it was from every direction. The principal of the school who had been the principal of the school when you were in high school called me. The people who called me or sent things.
I have such a love for my hometown Manhasset that I didn't have before this happened. Because I was like a typical bratty teenager where my town was very preppy and I was like, fuck the preppy town. I want to do my own thing. I'm going out to California. And this experience has given me such a love for my hometown. I love going home for the holidays. I love seeing people from high school because of how much they showed up for my family during this time. And I'm like, okay, it was preppy, but it was a really good place to grow up.
Wow, they were... Oh, I can't tell you the amount of care packages we got, food that we received. Yeah. Someone even sent like a $100 Starbucks gift card. Like there was just so many things that were sent our way to help us through it. And it continued even after, we got home. So the community really helped us.
The community
helped us
was
in a lot of ways. I felt the love.
Yeah.
And I needed that. Like I wasn't there. I was in California for 2 months. Wasn't there, but I felt the love.
Yeah.
Like I felt the love. And the manager of, I think he was the manager or he was like the maitre d' from the restaurant, called me.
Pray. Yeah, right.
He called me to pray. and I was holding your hand, and it was just me and you in the room for some reason at that time, right at that moment. And at that same time, there was a prayer service going on in Manhasset.
Oh, that's so powerful.
Just coincidentally.
He
happened to call me. It's not coincidence, you're right. But he happened to call me and pray with me. And when I looked, I realized the time and the day, and I knew that there was a prayer service at that time.
That's not a coincidence. That's the universe.
In Manhasset.
Because God, the universe, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. Yeah.
And Carebridge, going back to Carebridge, that was the one who updated. That was Stephen.
Yeah, that was my brother. Yeah.
He came out, and he was out, his first time out.
He was in med school at the time, by the way.
He was in med school, and he was supposed to leave and go back that day. And he's like, I'm not going back. I'm staying. He's like, I wasn't there for her, and I need to be there for my sister. I couldn't help her, and I want to help her now. And he didn't want to leave you. And I said, when she wakes up, if she finds out you stepped away from med school for a year, she's going to be so pissed off. You need to go. You need to go. And you remember you guys call me Mimi, Mommy, or you said the dog sound.
I say Callie calls you Mimi, Mommy. Callie's my dog.
And he was holding you, and he had his head on you, and he looks at me, and he goes, you really are a mean, mean mommy. He was crying. He's like, you are a mean mommy. And I made him go downstairs and took him to the airport. I might have even put in an Uber. I don't recall now.
Oh, and just also, I want to give a shout out to friends of mine who showed up at the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're helpful for you.
So Stephen's, once he got back, he was the one who did the Carebridge. And I wrote one of them, and he's like, why'd you do that? I go, it was like maybe the second one, and he goes, that's my thing. That was his way of, and
helping without physically being there.
Friends of yours came to the hospital. They brought blankets, stuffed animals. They brought food for us. 2 of your friends cooked me dinner one night, and had me step away. I stepped away from the hospital. You might have been in rehab. I'm not sure if you were in rehab or I don't recall. But they even I went to their apartment and had just a nice dinner with 2 of your friends, which was nice. I think it was when you were in rehab because I was just me, and there wasn't many times that I was alone. That would have been it. Towards the end of rehab, I was like, I just need to be alone for a little bit. Yeah. So lo and behold, you were progressing. You were now in a regular room. They put a valve on to try to get you to speak, but you weren't tolerating
the speaking valve, because I remember in inpatient rehab, because my earliest concrete-ish, is leaving the hospital to go to inpatient rehab, but I remember in inpatient rehab not being able to use that speaking valve, and I was so annoyed because I just wanted to talk.
Yeah. And oh gosh. You're just bringing back so much. You're bringing back so much. So the speaking valve, you weren't tolerating. They couldn't quite figure out why. And you wanted to. So
I'd cough it out.
You couldn't really communicate. You would try, and then you get frustrated because I couldn't read your lips. Sometimes you'd cough it out. Sometimes your eyes would get really big, like you could see, like you were almost say turning blue kind of thing. And they would quickly pull, and you could hear this whoosh of air. It was it was crazy, and I was like, "What's going on?" They didn't know, and so you were having a hard time communicating.
Yeah.
You couldn't hold a pen, so you couldn't write.
Still can't really.
You really couldn't write. You know, you couldn't speak, so it was very hard. And there were times you got frustrated.
And I never shut the fuck up, so that was hard for me.
But before you left for rehab, though, Dr. Herman came in, and he would come in with charts, and it'd be point, and that you could do. So point, are you in a hotel, a hospital, and
I pointed to a hotel.
Yeah, and I was like, oh boy, this is some hotel. Let me tell you, and so then we made a couple of things that we could ask you.
Yeah, but the way you really knew I was okay is one was, did you vote for Donald Trump? And it was an emphatic no.
But that was Dr. Herman. That was one of the ones we made up for you.
An emphatic no.
So I knew, and then I'm like, okay, she's okay. Yeah. She's gonna be okay, and we get you to rehab, and then
Yeah.
finally, you're not tolerating it. I think they finally felt that you could come off the trach because your oxygen, whatever, and they couldn't get your trach out. It had healed, you had healed, and they couldn't get it out. And in rehab, they were worried that if they pulled too hard and cut you, they didn't have anything to help you. Mm-hmm. That needed to be done in hospital. So a couple days after being in rehab, you had to go back to the hospital to get the trach changed to a smaller size and one without a balloon.
And I remember that took so long, and I was so tired.
We were there for so many hours.
I mean, I was only able to have, at this point when I was in inpatient rehab, like, my energy was, like, literally maybe an hour. Like, I wanted to go to bed at, like, 5 p.m.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
The night we brought you to rehab.
I remember because I wanted to get myself to a normal schedule towards the end of inpatient rehab. And when we first came home, when I first left, and I would, like, literally fight to stay up till 9 p.m., 10 o'clock, because I so badly wanted to get on a normal schedule, but that was so hard for me.
Yeah, because I would leave and we would
Yeah.
put something on for you to watch.
Yeah.
And I think it was your way of trying to stay awake. So anyhow, you got through all your surgeries. We went to rehab, and at the beginning, you couldn't walk, from here to the door. Like, you couldn't.
Yeah.
You just couldn't. You basically had to relearn how to walk, you had to relearn how to talk.
I know, I had to relearn to go upstairs.
And in your memory, I know, like, they would come in and they'd be like, we're going to give you 3 words. Penny, car, pencil. And then they would talk about something, and then they'd be like, do you remember? And you might remember. You would be like, one is something that has wheels on it, but you couldn't remember, like, the word car. One is something that's round. And the one, like, third, so you wouldn't remember at all.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it was just.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of things. They were doing OT, you couldn't get dressed, They finally trained me how to bring you to the bathroom. If you had to go to the bathroom, they trained me how to give you a shower.
Oh my God. I remember it was, so I wasn't allowed to, like, move from my bed by myself. My bed had an alarm under it. And I remember I'd wake up in the night, because I wake up every night having to pee at some point. I'd have to press the thing, have a nurse come in. She would have to wheel me over to the bathroom. It was such a production to get me to the bathroom in the middle of the night.
Oh my gosh, it was.
Yeah.
Even when I went, it was a production. And then I would be helping you, and it never failed. I would try to help you pull down your pants. And I would, like, almost pull on your feeding tube because you still had the feeding tube. And I was like, oh my God, did I hurt you? Did I hurt you? They had such a long tube. This food.
I know, I'd put it in my pocket.
You would put it in your pocket. Like, I'm fine. You'd put the feeding tube in your pocket.
I would put it in my pocket without even thinking about it. I think because my brain was truly not letting me process how disgusting a feeding tube was, I would just, like, put it in my pocket.
Because they didn't take it out because you had to eat. When you had they had to still give it to you because you had the trach. You couldn't eat. Then you had to pass the swallow test.
And I passed the swallow test, but I still wasn't eating enough, so they had to...
Yes, so they were supplementing it. You had to gain a certain amount of weight.
This is my biggest thing. My biggest thing is they're like, oh, you weren't eating enough, or, and I talk about this in a couple episodes. I can't talk about this enough. I wasn't eating enough, not because I wasn't well. I wasn't eating enough because that food fucking sucked. And I don't understand why they didn't let me eat outside food.
Well, then I started bringing it in.
You started sneaking it.
I was sneaking in
and
outside
we would
food.
throw out some of the California...
Because they judged how much you were eating because they knew how many calories, so they wanted to know that half that chicken was gone. So I would...
But just saying, if you were getting me McDonald's, we know that that's a ton of calories, and I would have eaten that.
So you were, but you really didn't have much of an appetite at all. I guess you got to basically even get that back after not eating for so long.
Yeah.
So we would beg you to eat. Your brother would feed you when he was there. We really tried. I would go out and get you food that I thought you might eat, but they weren't going to let you out until you were a certain weight. You had to show that you were eating. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, they weren't going to take the feeding tube out. Mm-hmm. And you couldn't leave till the trach was out, the feeding tube was out. You were not allowed to go home before any of that stuff happened.
Because not a lot of people came to visit me while I was in inpatient rehab. You basically took over when I was in inpatient rehab. Dad and Steven came for Thanksgiving. But
Robbie was there the first day.
I know. I have a brief glimpse of a memory of Uncle Rob and Uncle Sal And
Yeah, well, they were both in the hospital. Then Uncle Sal got on a flight, and when you got transferred over to rehab, it was
just Uncle Rob.
Just Uncle
Okay.
Rob. Uncle Sal wasn't
So
there.
then my
for
brief
rehab.
glimpse must be from the hospital.
No, because he was there the next day.
Oh, okay.
And there was a beautiful apartment building across, and he was talking to you about it, and he was telling you about Christopher's bunny rabbit at the time, and you were all excited about the bunny rabbit. And so but he was there a day or two, and then he left. And I think then Daddy and Stephen came for Thanksgiving, and after that, I was exhausted.
And you had to take care of me because I was now awake at this point.
Yeah, and when everybody was there afterwards, we would go get something to eat. So visiting hours that ended at 8, we'd go get something to eat. An hour and a half later, we'd get home. I basically fell into bed and was exhausted. So the last couple of days, I was like, I think I just need a little bit of alone time because I need to be alone.
Because just also the brain, like the mental exhaustion. Like it wasn't like when I was in rehab, it wasn't like you were doing a ton, but just like the mental capacity of all that.
And again, watching you.
And I don't know what the fuck's going on. I'm crying when they tell me you can't drink espresso martinis. I'm like, what?
But it was so hard because you wouldn't remember. Like I would leave at night, and the next morning when I would come, and I would tell you I'm leaving. I'm sorry, I have to go. A bell dings, ding. Visiting hours are over, and I'm like, see,
was this in the hospital or inpatient rehab that this would happen?
The beginning part of the hospital, you were.
Out.
When you went into the regular room,
I don't remember this time.
They just started allowing people to sleep there. I was not allowed in the beginning. Again, LA was just getting out of COVID. And I asked you, do you want me to sleep? And I think at that point, you still were not you. You still weren't thinking. You would be like, no, I remember one night going, do you want me to stay? I can stay here. And you said, no, go to your wedding. Yeah, have fun at your wedding. And I'm like, wasn't sure if you meant my wedding or I was going to someone else's wedding, but you're like, have fun at your wedding. You said funny things every so often. That's how I knew, like, okay, we're still not there. But you were okay. But by the time you got to rehab, you were only in a regular hospital room, I'm going to say a week.
No, less than a week.
Maybe 5 to 7 days.
Yeah.
You were in a regular hospital room. And then you got transferred over. But again, you were definitely becoming more with it. And you were also, by the time you got to rehab, you were only on Tylenol for a headache because you had headaches. So when we went to rehab, you were definitely becoming more aware. And at the end of the night, but you were still forgetful and had memory issues. So at the end of the night, I would try to tell, I would leave notes.
But I wouldn't remember.
You wouldn't remember. And so the next morning when I would walk in, you would look at me with this fear on your face and you would mouth the words, where were you? And I would be like, I'm sorry, Mom, you had to leave, I
know. One of the primary sources of my fear of abandonment, my anxious attachment.
Yeah.
That now I'm working on.
But I couldn't stay. Rehab would not allow, they did not allow any sleepovers at rehab. So I had to leave, and as much as I wanted to stay, they wouldn't let me. But that was hard coming in every day and you being like, where were you? And then they finally allowed you patio privileges.
Yes, yeah.
So again, you didn't have visitors in the hospital because they were only allowing 2 people in.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to let anybody see you in that condition.
Yeah.
Other than family. Mm-hmm. There was no way.
When my friends came, you would just tell them she's really hurt. You wouldn't give them any more details than that, right?
Well, they knew. They knew you were hurt. They knew you were hurt. They knew you were having surgeries. It was on the Caring Bridge. People knew what was going on.
Yeah.
But they all respected that. Also, it was like, say if a friend wanted to come and see you for a half hour, then that eliminated. Remember, I always had somebody with me. Then that person wouldn't have been able to be there. I needed somebody to be there all day with me, and it was not something for your friend. We had a friend from Manhasset come out right the day after it happened. He came out, Steve Fox.
Yeah.
And I remember looking at Dad saying, I'm not going to let him in this room. Like, I would never have let somebody in. And I love Steve, but it was just, that's a very private moment, and I wouldn't have taken myself out of seeing you or said, Dad, it just
Yeah.
wasn't going to happen. But once you got patio privileges, I think we had to wait for the trach to finally. What did you have the trach? You must have had the trach. You still had the trach? But I don't know why they finally allowed patio privileges, and then a couple of your friends were able to come visit you.
Well, I didn't. A couple of my friends were able, but I didn't want anyone
No,
to come
you didn't.
to the last week.
Yeah.
So I might have had the trach out by this point.
No, because I feel like that was almost the last thing before we could leave.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because and then I had.
And you had patio privileges on Thanksgiving, but you couldn't eat. Right? I don't
I
think
know.
so.
No, they purposely
We
got
ate
me
afterwards. I'm like,
no, they purposely,
we can't eat.
They purposely got me in for the swallow test before Thanksgiving so I could eat on Thanksgiving. How generous of them. But what they didn't include was that I could only eat California rehab food. So I was like, well, this isn't Thanksgiving.
Oh, were you eating? I thought you weren't eating yet. Okay.
No, they purposely got me in for the swallow test.
Okay.
Before Thanksgiving.
Okay.
But I wasn't off the
I
trach
guess
yet. The trach I didn't. Because then remember, I had to prove that I could breathe without it for 3 days.
Maybe that was it. The trach came out, but you still had to be able to breathe.
Yeah,
it was.
And I didn't go home until December 14th-ish.
Yeah.
So I wasn't doing my breathing without the trach trial until December 8th.
Yep, and yes.
December 9th. Yeah.
So there I got
Merry
to
Christmas.
Merry Christmas. We did go home for Christmas. But you progress from, I even have a note, I forget, when you finally walked 150 feet, it was hallelujah, she can walk 150 feet. But I don't know if you remember this, when you first got the patio privileges, the sun would bother you. And I don't know if
and my sunglasses.
You had to have sunglasses on. The
Yeah.
sun, I don't know why. I think it was maybe because of the damage to your eye or from being inside. I don't know. But you had to be in sunglasses. You could not.
Yeah.
You had such double vision. You were having headaches. I know you took your first neuropsych test, and you couldn't even because there were things you had to read, and you couldn't, because your double vision, you couldn't even read it.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of silly to have given you that test at that point, and your processing speed was so slow.
Yeah.
But we bought you an iPad. We thought that would help you communicate with us.
No.
Because you couldn't hold the stylus and you had no control of your fingers. It was because we even had a picture of the alphabet, and
I remember when I finally was able to look at my phone. I had 90 something texts from people, and I wanted to text them just, hey, I'm okay. Not everyone obviously, but the people that I'm still friends with. I wanted to let them know.
Yeah.
And I remember it took me 30 minutes to type out I'm awake, I'm recovering, blah, blah, blah. And it would take me 30 minutes to type that out, and then I would copy it and paste it and just send my copy pasted to. And I did 5 people a day. That was all I could do. And I didn't do them in a particular order, just the order I'd received texts in. And I remember it took me 30 minutes to just type out that short, grammatically incorrect sentence, and I just copied and pasted it because my fingers could not.
No, you had really.
And now I'm typing with these.
But you had nails. I don't know if you remember. You had really long nails.
My nails looked great.
The one thing that
one nail broke, but other than that,
actually that nail, half of it
broke.
So I walk in, you're a mess.
But my nails were on fleek.
For some reason, your arms, you had a couple of cuts on your fingers, but your arms were okay in those. Even the nurses commented on the nails.
Best nails in the ICU.
Because the nails were fine, except for the one that was half, and that one I think we had to cut because it was like a dagger.
I wrote the funniest review of that nail salon afterwards.
Oh, did
you? But because basically praising their how great their quality is of gel extension nails. I was like, my nail survived when many parts of my body did not.
So then you finally let me cut them in rehab because we thought you might be able to type better without the nails. So we cut them.
I type better with nails because at this point I'm trained.
Back then there was no way.
I'm trained. People are always like, how do you type? People are always like, how do you type with these nails? And I'm like, I've trained myself. I type better with nails. When I don't have nails, I'm like, what am I doing?
That's because, but at that time you couldn't hold the style. We got you a stylus, but eventually that started getting better. And then when you would put the valve in, you could speak a little bit. You were very quiet. And that was so, to hear your voice again was like amazing.
But it didn't sound like me. My voice is different.
It's to me, it's you.
Oh my God, when I play friends that have only known me since the accident, old videos, or like I show them, they're like, oh my God, you sounded so different. I'm like, yeah.
I guess
but apparently I sound
realize
sexier now, so.
I don't know. See, I think I don't know it. But you had an amazing team there.
An amazing team.
At Cedar Sinai, at Cal Rehab.
Any doctors or nurses you want to shout out? I've already shouted out Dr. Bryce a lot.
He was great.
Yeah.
He was great. He was
Dr. Herman. Dr. Herman did an episode. Dr. Birdall did an episode.
Dr. Herman. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Love that guy. He was the head of neuropsych in there. Dr. Wertheimer.
Okay.
Who I met a couple of times. He came in and he was the one who basically told me like how to tell you when you asked and what you did. When you finally started becoming, when you were in the hospital room, you never asked in the ICU because you were not aware yet. But in the hospital room, you know, like,
what happened? Yeah. And I asked you, like, you had to tell me like 6 times that I got hit by a car,
yes.
Right? I remember your voice telling me one time.
Really?
But I don't remember the visual. My earliest sort of memory is the sound of your voice telling me I was hit by a car. And I remember thinking in my head, oh no, I was definitely texting or jaywalking or doing something I shouldn't do. Oh
and you were not.
No, I walked in myself into the situation. And when I found out that I was crossing the street legally and not on my phone, I was like, ah! I was like, this wasn't my fault.
Yep.
I truly, I was like, I definitely walked myself into this situation, as is on brand.
But yeah,
Remind me.
So going back to the doctors, it's going to sound terrible to me. I don't remember all the doctors' names, but every surgeon, you had amazing care.
I really, and it's now so many years later, I really want to go through the hospital reports and also the police reports and I want to find
Your dad wants you to get in touch with the fire. Because it was a firefighter ambulance that actually responded.
Yeah, like them. And I want to get in contact with, like that nursing student who now must be an actual nurse that kept my airway open, that happened to be walking by.
I don't even know how we could.
If her name's in the police report.
It could be. It could be.
Yeah.
Could be in the police report.
Yeah.
Or Aurelio.
Yeah.
Aurelio. I mean.
But him I met, yeah.
Yes. He was the valet guy who got the video to me. Amazing. Several people from the restaurant called me. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, the team at Cal Rehab and Dr. Herman followed you through that.
Yeah.
I couldn't thank any of them enough. And one of the best things we did was go back to the hospital and visit.
Yeah.
You know, we went to they allowed us to go back to the...
And we didn't see everyone, but we saw...
No, because the attendings changed. Yeah. So, like... You saw the attending for a couple days, then the next couple days was a different... They rotated, so I saw the same ones, but it was...
Yeah.
Maybe 5 days of this one, 5 days of the next one, 5 days of the next one, and so it rotated through. Some of the surgeons I didn't meet. I met the attendings. I didn't meet the surgeons.
Which is crazy.
Yeah. I didn't meet them all.
Yeah.
Some I did, some I did not.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
Very interesting.
Yeah. But it was one of the worst things that anybody could ever go through.
Yeah.
It really was. And seeing you, I say you were like a broken rag doll. Mm-hmm. You were just you were broken. Head to toe broken. Mm-hmm. And it's amazing. Look at you.
I know. Yeah.
And I didn't know. We didn't know how you would come back. I knew you would probably walk. I didn't know if you'd be blind in one eye. I didn't know if you'd ever process right or if you'd ever think right again. And they told me that a lot of times, with brain injuries, people become very uninhibited, or I didn't know how you were going to come back to us. And I don't know if I told you this. I probably have. I would sit there every day while you were in your coma, and I would whisper in your ear, please come back to me. Please come back to me, please. I said, I'll do anything. Please come back to me. Anything. We'll have our fights that we have and stuff, but please. And I would beg you, come back to me. Come back to me. You didn't listen to me at first. You did not listen.
Well, you'll do anything?
I would have done anything.
Harry Styles never came to visit me.
I tried. I tried. I think I don't know what I did, messaged on Instagram or whatever. I tried Taylor Swift. I tried Harry Styles.
I got Taylor Swift.
I know
You didn't, but I did.
No, I did not.
You didn't, but I did. Yeah.
I remember, I think you had a Taylor Swift concert you were supposed to go to.
Harry Styles, no.
Harry Styles.
Oh my God, no! I would never let myself miss a Taylor Swift concert. I'd get
it was
there.
Harry Styles, and your friends were like, didn't want to tell me something. I somehow remembered you had told me because you were in a coma, and I think I reached out to them, and I'm like, please go.
Yeah.
I wanted them to go. I said she would want you to go
because I had the tickets,
and I think they tried to figure out a way how to like get a message to Harry Styles at the concert. They tried to.
He's a busy boy.
Yeah. So then, rehab, even that had its challenges with the trach and the vision and
and I didn't want to be there.
No, you were
I
done.
hated it.
You were done.
I wanted to go home so badly.
Yeah, you were done at that point.
Yeah, which we'll get to in the next episode,
Yeah.
The Journey Home.
The journey home.
Yeah, but I know this was very hard for you, but thank you, because I think it's important to give the perspective of the family, because, the injured, everyone cares about the injured, which they should. I'm not saying don't care about me. Obviously, everyone should care about me. But what the family goes through is also definitely something to take stock of. And families do develop PTSD. You develop your own trauma response to this. And it's a mess for everyone involved. And as it pertains to my story, so much I don't remember. I don't remember the worst of it. I don't.
Thank God.
Thank God. But I don't remember the worst of it. But
Because I think there'd be more PTSD.
oh my God, yeah. But
it does. It
do.
affects. I remember after you came home talking to Steven. And he said, he broke down one time and he's like, I was alone. I didn't have anybody. You had a relative there. Grandma had people around her.
My brother
Aunt Rose
was alone.
He goes, I was alone.
And
And
so
he had
was
friends.
Dad.
He had great friends. And Daddy, Daddy
So was Dad.
and it's hard. It was hard for everybody to get through that, to see like that.
And he still had to do school, and Dad still had to work, which zero idea how they did that.
Yeah, I got to think, and I'm so grateful that I had a job that I worked at Athleta at the time, and
Still do.
I still do, work for Athleta.
Which, by the way, because now I'm really into this, I want everyone to know that Athleta, their clothing is all sustainable and ethical. It is not fast fashion.
So yes, but they.
Aloe is fast fashion.
But Athleta, even my team at Athleta let me just take the time I needed.
Yeah.
They were like, don't worry. And they kept me on as an employee. Because I didn't really work while you were even in outpatient rehab and at home. I wasn't leaving you. And they were really great. So yeah, I even had support from my general manager at Athleta.
And even now to this day, and again, we'll get to this more in the next episode where we talk about the continuing things going on. But because I still at this time in my life, get very overwhelmed or get very scared. At Athleta, they normally do not let workers, attendants, keep their phones on them, but they let my mom have her phone by the cash register, because if I have something going on, they know it's I react differently to emotions, and when I need my mom, I need my mom.
They also were great because at the beginning, when I first went back to work, I did the flips, which is when the new clothes come in, and that's like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. till 10 or 11. And I'm like, I can work that because she's sleeping. Mm-hmm. She's sleeping at that time. I can do that. And they purposely just scheduled me for flips. I said, because you at the time, like you said, were calling me a lot, and I couldn't be at the register and take a phone call. Couldn't do that. So I couldn't go back. Even when I first went back, it wasn't at full capacity. It was just what I could do.
So we'll dive more into all of that in the next episode, but we wanted to end with a tribute to Athleta.
No, I don't know how we got there, but I want to give a shout out to everybody.
Oh yeah, but everyone
home.
You want to thank and everything you want to wreck. That's how I want to end.
I can never thank the people from home. who were there for me, my friends who were there for me, your friends who were there for you, and
people that we didn't know that just showed up in
just
droves.
so many people who just the
people
prayers,
that are still showing
the
up.
prayers that were sent your way, whatever faith, whatever it was, it didn't matter, that came our way. I can't thank those people enough. I can't thank my athletic team enough. I can't thank my family enough.
I mean,
Who got us through this.
My family's incredible, but to this day, I get more support from Manhasset, my hometown, including from people that I didn't really know, than I got from several college friends who I thought were really good friends of mine that, you know, might not be my friends anymore, or just people in general that I've met. We have to think Manhasset really came through for us. Yeah. And I didn't love Manhasset, but they loved me.
But the team
so now I love Manhasset.
At Cedars, team at Cal Rehab, just everything. I couldn't have done it.
During this time, my inpatient rehab therapists, whose names I remember, Leslie, Jane, and Hannah.
Yes.
If you guys happen to hear this, I don't know if they ever will, but Leslie, Jane, and Hannah.
Oh my God, they were so good with me.
They were so good with me. They made it so much. They were the only people below the age of 30 that I got to talk to. I mean, no, they were below the age of 30, but really they're the only people below the age of 60 that I was communicating with. And they made me feel normal.
They were so good.
They made me feel, they let me have normal conversations about college and about guys and about music and about all this just stuff. I wanted to talk about things that were normal. I wanted to feel normal, and they gave that to me. As much as they could. My brain surgeon, Dr. Mamalek, incredible. Dr. Raymond Douglas, he originally
was amazing.
On this eye, was incredible.
Yeah. Dr. Lee did your cheekbone.
Dr. Lee did my cheekbone, also incredible.
It was a team effort.
Team effort.
I don't know their names, but that ambulance crew got you to.
That ambulance crew, which
got you to Cedars in minutes.
Yeah, which if we can ever find out that
I think we can. We should be able to find that.
Yeah.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, amazing. And so, should I give my recommendations?
Please give your recommendations.
So I know.
And these recommendations are for family who's experiencing this, and more so the community who knows a family is experiencing this. What can you do? If you're friends with somebody and you know that this crazy thing happened to their child, their spouse, what can you do?
Okay. So yes, I know you ask for recommendations, and sometimes it's books, sometimes it's movies. Mine is just going to be
this is more usable
as the family. If you ever go through something like this, you have to take care of yourself. You have to be that person's advocate. I had someone who couldn't, was in a coma. You have to ask questions until you get the answers. Sometimes there aren't answers to be given. And journal.
Right?
I didn't start journaling the first couple of days, and I'm very sad I didn't. But then I started journaling through rehab. I should have continued during outpatient rehab, and I didn't. But journal, because you're not going to remember it.
If a legal aspect is involved, write down literally everything and take pictures of everything.
Yep. I didn't take as many pictures as I would have, because there was one nurse who was mean, and she yelled at me for taking pictures.
Me and Kat talked about that, how nurses can be incredible or they can be scary.
She was also the one who wanted me to cut your hair off.
Yeah.
And I was not about to cut your hair off.
Wasn't there the one nurse who wasn't receptive of you until she heard you say,
it was her
mom? Yeah.
It was, okay, yes, when they were giving me, your MRI results.
Mm-hmm.
And the doctor, was like, let me open up the pictures and I can show you. And I'm just like, just give me the bottom line. How's her brain? And he's like, well, let me show you. And I'm like, I don't want to see it. Just, is she going to be okay? And he's like, and the nurse comes over, she goes, well, he's just trying to show you. I go, I'm a mom. I just want the bottom line. After that, she changed, and she even came in and she said, I have a little baby at home, and
Yeah.
you made me see this differently.
But yeah.
And she was the one who's like, cut her hair off. No, you can't take pictures. Like, she just did a couple things. And then when I just, I'm a mom. All I just want to know is my baby's going to be okay. And she said that really drove it home for her. And she did change after that with me.
Yeah. Also, if you are in this situation and there's a nurse that won't let you take pictures, but you're involved in a legal aspect, sneak those fucking pictures.
I know.
Sneak
I'm such
those
a rule
fucking
follower.
pictures.
I took pictures, but I definitely didn't take as many because I didn't think I was allowed to. She told me I wasn't allowed to. And Caringbridge.
Caringbridge, yeah. That's
Back
the
to
big
that.
one.
Look it up, caringbridge.com. It's a great way for somebody to, people can follow you and they can follow your journey on it from beginning to whenever you choose to end it.
Part of the reason why my hometown was able to be as incredible as they were for me is because we were able to get the information out so clearly.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, because I couldn't keep answering texts.
My family was able to get the information
and then
out.
I'm answering somebody who's telling someone else this way. Caringbridge, if people want to follow it. And there were so many people who said that was the greatest thing. And that it was people who, I only knew about it because several people told me that when they were going through something, this was a great way. And so Caringbridge, but take care of yourself and ask all the questions, be their advocate, and also, if you know somebody going through something, don't say to them, let me know what you need.
This is a big one.
No, because you never get back. There were so many people said, let me know if you want to go for a walk. And they were all trying to help. Let me know, can I give you anything? You know what? No. Say, hey, I'm going for a walk tomorrow. Can you come with me? Hey, I'm going to go get a cup of coffee tomorrow. Do you want to come with me? Hey, I am dropping something off. Do you like lasagna? I'm dropping off a lasagna. Don't say, let me know, because people aren't going to let you know. Just be proactive.
Kat Prescott and I already also talked about this, so that should be like you're hearing this from multiple people.
Okay, but that is.
No, but I'm thank you for saying it, but give something give something specific. No, let me know. It's just be like, on this day, I'm doing this for you. On this day, I'm doing this. Do you want to come? I'll pick you up.
Yeah. If somebody would have rang the doorbell and said, let's go for a walk, I would have gone for the walk. So many people said, do you want to go for, let me know when you want to go for a walk. I never went on a walk with anybody. And it's a lonely journey. It's a lonely journey. Remember that. It's a lonely journey.
It's a very lonely journey.
It's a lonely journey for people. So be there. Be there. Be there.
Show up for people. Anything else you would like to say, or do you think you said everything you want?
Oh, I know. I'm going to tonight go to sleep and say, I didn't tell him about this. I didn't tell him about this. So hopefully if there's anything I truly forgot, because there was so much.
Well,
this was 2 months. Well, yeah.
It was 2 months.
2 months. I'm just so lucky.
Yeah.
And I know I look at it wrong, and I'm sorry. Sometimes I look at it wrong when I get down.
Don't apologize to me.
No, because sometimes I'm sad. And I look at it wrong, and I know that. But what people need to understand
there's no wrong or right way.
Is, yeah, you're alive.
Yeah.
You are alive, and I'm so lucky. And I beg God for this, and I begged you to come back to me. And the universe, God, whatever it is to somebody. But I'm allowed to grieve.
You are allowed to grieve.
So I feel like I'm allowed to grieve the daughter I lost. Not that you're not fabulous, because you are her and you're amazing, but there are parts of you that are still different, and it makes me sad, and it does hurt me, you know, when I see your scars, and I know you're good with them, but it hurts me. It just hurts me as your mom. So yeah, allow people to grieve, and just be there for them. But yeah, I am lucky. And I am so lucky.
But you also are very unlucky, and both truths can exist.
That's true.
Both truths can exist.
But we've always said that you were very lucky in an
unlucky situation.
100%.
Very lucky in an unlucky situation.
The stars align. There's a reason why you're still here today.
Yeah. There's
a reason you were in Cedars-Sinai within minutes. There's a reason that Dr. Bertle, he did everything the way it should be done, him and his team. That's another shout out. that ER doctor saved your life.
He did a whole episode. Believe me, he's got his shout out.
Okay. He's amazing.
He's amazing.
He was
Dr. Brutal,
amazing.
Carl Brutal.
Yeah.
But yeah, validate people's emotions.
Absolutely. And be there.
Be there
the
for them.
people. Be
Hold
there.
space for them.
Yeah.
Fuck your toxic positivity.
And let them talk when they want to talk.
Let them talk
Just
when they want to.
listen.
People just want to be heard.
Yeah.
And caregivers, you are developing your own trauma, and that is valid.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway,
I love you.
this has been Gabriella Rebranded. We most lose some, and you did lose for a little bit, but I think overall you've won a lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Thank
love
you for
baby.
being here.
Of course.
And we'll see you guys next week when we're talking about caregivers.
Yep.
Woo!